if you're moving like that, you're qualified to work at McDonald's. I did say that, right? I'm trying to give him other career options.
He gets one high in the air. Left field. This one's got a chance. And let's go on a cowhide. Joyride. Sound the horn. The RailCats clear the yard.
Hello, RailCats fans, and welcome back to RailCats Talk Podcast. He's Chuck Polarek. I'm Kyle Svetich. And Chuck, we can officially say I'm the best flexer in the
Yeah,
state of
yeah.
Indiana.
You started growing out your dad bod,
I started
which
growing up with dad
you
bod.
want to get an award.
Yeah. So that was fun. That was interesting. For those that don't know, they did in between the second and third inning, they had the best flex contest. Well, I was playing on the field or playing catch on the field with my dad for Father's Day, and they pulled off to the side and said, "You guys want to be in a flexing contest?" Sure, why not? And when we get there, my dad works out. I don't. The other guy, full cut off muscles, everything. I'm like, why did they pick me? Oh, probably because they need someone to make fun of. So I'm like, well, here goes nothing. They're over there. The one guy takes his shirt off. He's flexing his pecs. I'm like, I don't think I can do that. So best next thing is to take my jersey off, not fully off because I don't want to show the goods, and just push
Right,
out the stomach. And the ladies loved it. So
right.
and I'm pretty sure I heard a faint, weird gentleman in the background saying, "Take it off."
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
I don't
Weirdo.
know who might have
What a
said
weirdo.
that.
What a weirdo.
What a weird guy that wants a
Oh,
grown man to take his shirt off
yeah,
to see his
yeah.
belly. I don't know who that might have been at
I
all.
don't know either. I think
Uh,
that it was probably an echo from your wife.
Probably an echo. Yeah, you're right. Probably, definitely not. Or my mother. She was that. Yeah, and
Right.
that's. I, I do kind of sometimes draw the line there. That I'm gonna
Well,
take my. Anyways,
it's like going
um,
second grade. It's not weird.
before we get into too much of this, I want to just it's been a long time since like a Father's Day has really felt special to me,
Right.
and I think even my dad maybe. Um, Not only because I know next year I'll be having a little one coming along the way, but it's been almost 10 to 15 years since I played catch on the field, on any baseball field or anywhere on the field with my dad. So that was just really special, spending the entire day with him, doing a flexing contest, just stuff that you could go to a normal baseball or an MLB game, you're not gonna get that experience. And it just that was a
Right.
great experience. They put on a good experience or great time. The Railcats won. We saw a top 10 ESPN play of the day at number 5, but nonetheless, but then sitting there and talking with my dad, we get done, and me and him are both amazed at how nice the field. You sit on the field, you sit on the field by the field, you look at the field, and you go, it's a nice field. You get out there, and I'm like, all right. I threw the ball down. I said, all right, I got to touch the grass real quick because I'm like, this doesn't look real, right? You touch it, like, nope, that's definitely real grass there. So it was just overall great experience. I'm not taking away from the experience of that, but like Sunday was a very special day. It felt to me because I spent a long time with my dad and get to do that kind of stuff, and I'm glad that the Railcats gave me an opportunity to spend time with my dad like that because it's been a very long time since I've been able to do something like that with him. So I want to thank everyone that puts on a great time there at the Railcats, from the front office to the players. It, things like that are special, and it may not always be shown, but what they did was a fantastic job with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Uh, that was the first time. Well, I think it might have been the second time that I've thrown a baseball since I had shoulder surgery. Felt good. It is great being out on the field.
Yeah,
It is great that they let you out there playing. It's me and my dad ran the bases after the game. So that was fun for us. He runs faster than me. Yeah, I wasn't necessarily trying to run, but like he was hauling, and I'm like, geez, Pete's. Um, so yeah, it's they really it's like they pull out all the stops to help you have a good time. And I think that's what Joe constantly says about family and being affordable and all that stuff. Um, it's a safe environment, it's a family friendly environment, and it's affordable, so it's hard to pass up on something like that, and you really do miss out if you're not taking advantage of that, you
Yeah.
know.
That,
But you mentioned something there. The ESPN
mhm.
number 5 play for yesterday, which would have been 5/16/2025,
Yep.
uh, is Jake uh,
Allgeyer.
Allgeyer, second base, running out to right field, diving over his shoulder catch, and snow cones the ball
Yep.
all the way to the ground, and still holds on to it for the out. Uh, I do not believe they played the da 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 da, which they normally do, even when it's
Yeah.
not when it's like a questionable play. Um, I don't believe they played that, but it made it.
I think what threw him off was that was the first out of the game.
Right.
That
That's I mean
it wasn't
that was
like
hard.
we got it, like it wasn't like we were like in the game. No, this was the first out of the game, and the camera doesn't do it justice of how great of catch that was, because from our vantage point, he hit the ground hard, and his mitt bounced 2 or 3 times, and you just see that little white ball just kind of creeping out, and I'm like,
I was
oh, did he
waiting for
drop
it.
it? Oh no, he caught it. What a play! Like it was just one of those like, and I really think that helped one spark the team a little bit. I know the runs didn't come until later on in the game, but I think it helped spark the team going, this is a really great play. We got to capitalize off of it. And I mean, there was a lot of people there, so like you got the momentum going, and you're
Right.
on a 6 game losing streak. You got to turn it around, and they did in that game. But I think that helped start.
Well, yeah, it definitely kind of catapulted some stuff. But I want to say this: me and you have been going on and on about Algier,
Mhm.
about he low batting average, making errors, just really not clicking. Okay, you can point to me all you want, but really it's you, right? I'm just regurgitating what you tell me. And hey, we need somebody solid at second base. And we get um, a guy that's solid at second base. Uh, Goes out there and he isn't really hitting, and they've moved him around a little bit. Ernie Ordonez
Mhm.
played third base, played second base a couple of times, DH'd, but they start putting in Al Geyer as a DH, and all of a sudden he starts hitting the ball and he starts getting on base. And then they put him out there, and I believe he made like 2 or 3 really good
Yeah.
plays at second base. And it's like, you know, I mean, I don't know if it was like some growing pains or it was like, hey, it's a new season. I don't know what it was, but he was off. Um, and then all of a sudden he's on. And it's like, okay, we need this dude at second base, So I love the fact that Lamar put some pressure on him, but also gave him the ability to show up,
Mhm.
right? And that gave him the chance to go out there and show what he had with some pressure. And boy, did he! I mean, come on now. When was the last time you saw American Association play on ESPN? Uh, I've never. Maybe it was out there, but I'll tell you what.
I think a couple years ago, but I don't really remember.
Yeah,
It's not the MLB partner leagues don't get glorified like any. They make an amazing
right,
play. Let's just
right.
have some random squirrel run across the Major League Baseball stadium. That's a top 10 play, right? That's
Yeah. So makes a top 10 play. Just fantastic job. Fantastic job. We were out having dinner last night with a couple of the guys, and LG noticed that it was on the screen and started flipping out. And then everybody else started flipping out. We're all grabbing our phones trying to find it. Couldn't believe it. Just like right there, just seeing the excitement that everybody had. And it was like, I don't know. there's something with this team that I can't really put my finger on it, but like this kind of attitude, this kind of like camaraderie, you see this with championship teams. I hate saying that because it's not correlating with the record, but Lamar really has assembled what I would consider this very well could be a team contending for a championship. They just have to start getting it to click, and this last game, hopefully, is what did it.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it earlier. They have 8 games where they've lost by 1 run. If
Right,
they would have won eight, if they would have won all those games, they would be above 500. They would be 17-16 right now.
right, and that puts them what, third place, something
Yeah,
like that.
something. I mean, it puts them in a better spot. Like, yes, the 6 game losing streak, getting swept by Sioux Falls, blowing the game 3 in against Sioux Falls, being up by 2 runs, going to the ninth, blowing that, and not getting anything going off of that. Like late inning. A lot of these games were like late inning runs that kind of
Right,
opened the door, that kind of expanded it. So it was nice to see in a game 3 on a Sunday afternoon. Swazi gets 4 RBIs. Jake Gunther gets a grand slam. I think the first grand slam of the season for the RailCats, if
yes,
I'm not mistaken. Like getting electric with that stuff, and going going back and just seeing how, like, we've missed on a couple opportunities. Like, still, yes, we struggle. We score early and then we stop scoring. I don't know what the trend is there on that, where we score and then we just go on the spell of not scoring. Um, but like I said, you bring in Jake Allgeyer, talk about him. He's batting this week. He's batting a 455. You had
wow,
a Basabe batting a 412.
yeah,
Uh,
Basabe is killing it too.
Swazi having 7 RBIs. Like, there was a lot of contribution going around. Um,
Peralta was killing it.
Peralta
Peralta,
was killing it. It's just one of those instances where, like, you really look at the team and you're like, it's right there. And the thing is, I know the past 2 weeks we've kind of been down in the dumps a little bit, because it's hard doing a podcast when you have a team that wins a game, lose 2 games, and then that last game that they lose is always on the Sunday right before you record. So it's just like the bad stuff is still in your head versus the good stuff. But
right,
I'm not saying the talent, I think, is there. I think against Sioux Falls, I can't even really say that, because you had 1 game where you got obliterated, but the other 2 games you're right there with them. Winnipeg, you beat them last series. You didn't beat them this series. You kind of hung around. I know the scores don't necessarily show that, but again, those were late inning games where the relief pitching just kind of blew up in their face and kind of went forward. Um, on that front, you know, I you have a different side of the story, and I have a different side of the story a little bit. Not really gonna say like names and all this other stuff, but it was sort of really relayed to me that the season is disappointing. I mean, it's not. I don't think that's. I think everyone understands that the season so far is disappointing. I think if the season continues the way it is, I don't think anything's going to happen during the season, but something is going to change at the end of the season. And the way you've talked about, you had dinner with all the players, and the way they've talked about the team camaraderie and Lamar and stuff like that, it would be a shame if something did change, but it's starting to head that way. But
right.
I'm hoping that we're going to be able to turn around, and these next 6 games are going to be important, because you're going to face a very good Chicago team and a very good King County team. No matter where they're at in the rankings, no matter where they're in
Right.
the standings, everyone's above you. Everyone's going to be good. This is the point where you have to start showing your worth and cracking down
Yep.
on being productive when you're in your high lever situations, executing on your game plan, and not faltering at the last minute.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. That's, I mean, when we were sitting there, me and you sitting there, and we have a bit of a lead, and we bring out the new guy who has a 54 ERA. And my thing on that is you don't bring out the new, you need to win every game that's within reach right now. And you know there's going to be a game where you're getting blown out or that it's out necessarily out of reach, right? And you can bring a guy in like that and test him out a little bit just to see where he's at in a live scenario. I don't think that when you're up by one run or whatever the case may be, that you bring a guy in the 54 ERA to see what he does. And then when he loses the game for you, that is not a good in-game play for me, right? And that I pin that loss on management. But you're up by, I believe it was 6, 7 runs at the time, and you bring him out, and he goes 1, 2, 3, and gets you out of the next inning, and it's like, okay, so it's easy to play armchair quarterback on some of this stuff, but you have to, hey, there's a lot of calls to be made, um, especially when you've got umpires that aren't making them.
Listen, I wait before we go for with my thought on talking about is it Marcus Evans is
Yeah,
the it can remind me of who was it last year that we brought in and he couldn't hit the strike zone to save his life.
yeah, I think
Dotson,
what was it?
was it Dotson? He was a
Yeah,
tall lefty.
yeah, it
And
might have been.
that's what kind of scared me about Evans was like he walked there were singles bases loaded and he gave up and then he came around the next game and a couple wild pitches but then he shut the door. So I'm not 100% positive on that, but again in your case that is something that we saw a lot last year was bringing a new guy, see what he can do in high leverage situations you lose those games. Like
Right.
that's not the right thing to go for
Every
them
every game from
right
the
now.
beginning of the season till the end of the season, every game matters.
Yes.
Every win matters. So when you're within range of getting that win, and let's say you have a reliever that you're like, you know what, I'm going to save him till tomorrow, blah, 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 and he's one of our best relievers, but you're one inning away from closing out the game and getting the win, bring him in.
Yeah.
Bring him in, close the door, put that win in the column because everything else is unsure, right? And that's my philosophy from start to finish. If you've got a one-run game, bring in somebody that's going to shut the door. And if that guy ruins it for you, he goes to the back of the line. When you get in that situation again, you bring in somebody else that's going to shut the door. Bring in one of your hot guys,
Yeah.
and ride them in those situations. There's been 8 of them so far. Ride them until they fail, and then bring somebody else in to make it happen. And that's no, I mean, hey, everybody's going to make a mistake. Everybody's going to leave a pitch hanging and they're going to get nailed. And it is what it is. It's baseball, right? It's no diss on anybody, Nate or anybody else, right? Because Nate's the guy that typically is the closer. No disrespect, nothing like that. But utilize them in another role temporarily until you get through whatever it is that they're dealing with, and then put them back in. And yes, if they make a mistake, but they've had five good ones in a row, 3 good ones in a row, they make a mistake, that's fine. Okay, let's talk about it. If there's not somebody else better to fill that position, then keep them in there. But
Yeah.
I feel like we don't look for better, we settle for what, and it's like, okay, wait a second. We got some guys that are in the, sub 1 ERA. We're in the last inning. Let's finish this out.
I don't disagree with you. And then going back to the umpire point
Okay.
because I'm this story just kills me. It's funny that it happened. So against Winnipeg, we're sitting there. I think what was it, Friday night?
Believe so.
I think it was Friday night, and there was a ball again in right field on the foul line there, and you said something, a player said something, a coach said something. I'm pretty sure to the first base umpire,
Yeah. Said something
and
to the base umpire, and he looked at it
he
and
looked
then
at it.
kept playing.
He said he shrugged his shoulders, said, it is what it is." That's not the funny part. The funny part to that was the staff. I think a staff member got over, jumped over, grabbed it, came back. Well, another ball ended up falling. The third base umpire stops the game to get the ball.
Right. Right. No, no. So it was that first ball
Was it the
that
first
the
one? I couldn't
umpire,
remember.
the first one that the umpire said, keep playing. And it's like, okay. And the third base umpire, the next pitch, yelled over there to stop the game and have them grab the ball. And I said, well, at least he's doing his job. I mean, I
And the
get it.
guy and the umpire just stayed there, right? And then the next half inning, he like takes a jog down the first base line, like, oh, he can move, he's doing something. And then he caught you, Chuck, you were on a roll. He took a peek at you, and he caught it. He kind of laughed and smiled, but it's one of those situations where I'm looking at, like, I was going back and I couldn't remember on Thursday if when Elvis snapped his bat on the last at bat when he struck out, um, if he went down swinging or went down looking. I thought he went down looking, but he ended up swinging. But looking at the pitches, they called a strike like right here on him, and I'm like, and they made up a call, but then there was two that they were on the corner, belt high, like it's strike three all day. Two of them right exact same spot, should have been rung up. It went by. I'm like, how, these I don't. You even talked about the statistic of how they now have something in the booth where they can
Yeah.
tell like the strike zone.
Or whatever it is that'll tell you, the velocity of the hits and all of that stuff. But it also keeps track, or you can view the strike zone and the box that you get to see on MLB and
Mhm.
where the ball goes, right? And Lamar had said, typically you're at like 94, 96% right, accurate from these umpires, or that's what you would expect.
Mhm.
And these umpires are like 83%, which means that, like, hey, 17 out of every 100 pitches, they're not getting right.
Yeah.
And that is like not good,
No,
right?
that's
That is like not good. And I'm sorry, but that can ruin a game. And it tends to for us,
mhm.
right? And you can see some other teams blow up, but like a Sioux Falls, um, they're happy go lucky. Whether they're winning or losing, it doesn't matter. They're out there high fiving each other, giving each other a hard time, making fun of each other's names, all this stuff, right? And if the pitches aren't being called or whatever, it is what it is. They just go out there and do their business, right? And then you have the teams where they're serious.
Yeah.
And when you're missing calls, they are angry. And that feeds into the pitchers being angry. That feeds into the players when they make an error. All of a sudden, stuff starts imploding. Um, and sometimes we've been that team.
I would
Uh,
agree.
and that's unfortunate because that leads to some losses,
Yeah.
right? And I'm starting to see a little bit of a turn there. Now there was a funny game where we were facing who were we facing? I think we were facing Sioux Falls, and the umpire told him to shut up, uh, and says, "Come on, you've been going all day, shut up," or something like that to them. And I was running my mouth. Now, where we sit, it sounds like it's coming from the end of the dugout, right? And the umpire is just getting pissed. And then uh, um, one of our players had his hands up or something,
And
and when he came down, he slapped his legs or something like that. and the umpire saw him and threw him out. And Lamar charged out of there so pissed. And he's like, he didn't say anything. He didn't say anything. You realize how stupid that is
Yep.
that you just threw him out and he hasn't said anything the whole game. And then Lamar gets tossed out.
Well, and not saying that's what led them to lose that game, but at that point when that happened, they were up 4-2.
Yeah.
That was the Thursday game.
Yeah.
And he gets tossed, and it's just like now you're left with, I'm not saying that Jason's not capable or Kent's not capable of, that's already put in stone what they're going to do anyways. But things might have been different if Lamar was managing, maybe not bring out a Nate, maybe bring someone else out like a Jonathan Martinez or someone else. But in that instance, I would just say that also could have changed the course of the game a little bit. But again, the umpire is a factor into the game, tossing a guy out for and that's the thing. We were sitting up by the bar, and I remember talking to Milo about it after the game, and he's like, "Yeah, he just put his hands up, slapped down, and that the umpire just heard the slap and threw him out."
Yeah.
It's like that. I didn't say anything.
Right. Right. Stuff like that. I mean, these guys, come on now. This is I'm hearing umpires cuss at the players. I'm hearing them cuss at the managers. I'm hearing them, say nonsense. And it's like, I thought you guys were supposed to be professional. This is a professional job that you're supposed to be doing. And if your demeanor or your attitude is that way, I understand why your calls are the way they are. Because not only mentally are you professional, but in your job you're not being professional. And so I get it. I hope they do something about it. I'm not going to hold my breath. But I also go back to this. Somebody needs to complain to the American Association that you should not have the same umpiring crew for 6 games in a row. I've said this before. I've said it again. We had it we had same crew for 6 games against Cleburne. Same crew for the 3 games against Sioux Falls and then Winnipeg. I don't care about the money aspect of it. If you don't have enough money to do the job correctly, then maybe you need to fold up the whole thing and call it a day. Right? There's no excuse for you to have the same 3 guys for 6 games in a row. And if they suck or if they're doing an awful job, you can't just wait it out for 2 more games.
Yeah.
You have to wait it out for 5 more games. And that should be something that doesn't happen.
Yeah, and it also one of those situations where, like in the Cleburne series, like the umpire, it depends on which manager's riding the other one harder. They might lean calls a certain way, but then like
Right.
just for instance, if the home team has the same umpire for 6 games, it could go either way. They could favor you the entire time, or they could totally be against you, and you're going to struggle the entire time because. But in an ideal world, that shouldn't happen. That shouldn't be the case. But it's not a perfect world. It's the real world, and people have biases against each other for slapping their hands on their thighs. So,
Right. Now, I did say that I made some positive comments to the umpire. When the umpire was ran down to get the ball, and then ran back, I said, "Hey, if you're moving like that, you're qualified to work at McDonald's." I did say that, right? I'm trying to give him other career options. I'm trying to be a good guy, being a good fan, trying to help a brother out. And that, I was, still am kind of looking for a large seeing eye chart, so that maybe we can test these guys from where they're at. Um, Vision insurance is something that we should be offering. Get these guys some new spectacles. I mean, there's plenty of ideas of the ways that we can make this a little bit better. So,
yeah. Before we wrap it up, I know it's gonna be a short one just because I have to get this out today.
right.
Releases: Jose Contreras got released, Donovan Williams got released, and Julio Pinto all got released. Not saying that's all shocking on that front of it. I know Julio, it says on the American Association website that he is released, but on the point streak, he's still technically on the roster. I just don't think they've updated that yet. So if anyone looks, why is he that that's probably why.
Yeah, Contreras is with the Joliet Slammers now. And I don't know if that's been updated or not. I was thinking about driving out Tuesday and seeing him play. So it's good to see that he landed somewhere quick. And then I also heard that with Pinto that it very well could be an injury,
Yeah.
and it was something that, hey, we can't really tie up an injury spot because we've got Hoover there. We only have one more spot. So, hey, we're gonna have to release you, get better, and see what comes of it. So,
And then we signed DeMarcus Evans, who actually is a former MLB player. He played a handful of games up in the majors. Ernie Ordonez, and then Jake Gunther was released by Winnipeg, and we picked him up off of waivers and then signed him as well.
right. Who hit the grand slam? And he's had
Uh,
hits too. So, I mean, and he's played at the field pretty good.
yeah, I think he's a good left-handed pickup. I think it puts a little bit of pressure on Barron on that aspect of it. I don't think it's been a hot minute since we've had another solid like left-handed power bat. We're like, yeah, that could put a little bit of pressure and being able to utilize it. This is the things of having extra people that you can utilize on the bench or move around, or if someone's going cold, just kind of cycle people through, have a competition aspect of it.
Right. And
Uh,
these guys aren't looking at it as, I don't think they're looking at it as, him or me. I
no,
think they're looking at it as, hey, we want to get better. And so whatever we have to do that, but they're gonna fight. They're out there fighting. So I think it's a great change to
yeah,
see, not just in one position, but I mean, Lamar is out there giving these guys a second shot to see what they can do. And I, as a fan, selfishly think, ooh, I don't like that because to me, if you've made a mistake and made a mistake, you should be gone,
hmm
right? But when you see a guy like Allgeyer go out there and start killing it, it makes me question that philosophy and kind of agree with what Lamar's doing, you know.
yes and no. Going with the Allgaiers, you saw the potential and just wasn't all
Yeah,
quite there yet. I think that was one of those instances where it's just like I see it, but it's just not quite there yet. Unlike a Donovan Williams, where it was just like he wasn't. I know he was a short term solution for a long term problem, but it was like you saw him, he just wasn't there. You know what I'm
right,
saying? Like I
right,
even saw it with Howard, like it just he wasn't there.
right.
Um,
I agree. I agree.
let's see, he's kind of fallen off of pace a little bit, but Jerry Sprish has 25 stolen bases in 29 games, so he's still. He did get caught stealing on Saturday or Sunday, which was kind of a surprise a little bit on that front. Um, but he did steal two bases in that game. He almost
Did
had
he get
three.
did he get caught stealing or did he
There was a caught. There was a caught stealing, and then he stole a base, and then there was an overthrow. So he attempted twice, and then he got so it wasn't three stolen bases, so it was just the one.
I know that he got picked off once over this course of the 6 games.
Yes, I think that was one of the games that I was listening to but didn't watch.
Yeah. So these guys have got it in their head that the opposing team doesn't throw to first base. And so they're like, hey, I'm going. And hey, they're going, but one of the things I did mention yesterday was, you know, when we've got, I don't care if we're up by 2 or 3 or 4 runs, right? When we got a guy on second base and the second baseman is 20 feet off the bag and the shortstop is 20 feet off the bag, but we're only taking a 3 foot lead or a 4 foot lead, come on now.
Yeah,
We should be halfway down that line. And if they're going to give us bases, take them. That should be what we're doing. And it's weird because the fast guy will be 10 feet off the bag. He doesn't need to be because he's fast, but he's doing it for a reason, right? And the slow guy will only be 3 feet off the bag. And it's like, dude, If the fast guy could be 3 foot, be 10 feet off the bag, you could be 10 feet off the bag too. It's going back and forth. I saw some times where I was like, hey, why aren't you stealing? Why aren't you stealing? And they didn't steal. Uh, quite often, our thing is we'll get a guy on first base, and we should be stealing second, but we'll leave him there for the next guy to double play.
Mm-hmm.
And if you get the guy over to second, you take that out of the play. And we really need to be working on that. Really need to be, hey, let's get out of the double play situation so that it's only one out and it moves the guy to third.
Yeah.
And we can be in scoring position a lot more often than having a guy at first, doubling him off, end of the inning.
Yep. A couple other things. LG Castillo has his 500th professional career hit. He got that on June 12th. He has more than half of those hits are with the RailCats. Chris Irwin got his 300th career strikeout. 282 of those have been with the RailCats. He is also put on the disabled list.
He was put on the disabled list to make room for Pinto so that they could release Pinto because they can't release him from the injured list. They have to move him to the active roster. But Chris Irwin is also 16 strikeouts away from tying the RailCats record for strikeouts, 17 for the taking the lead. And so if everything goes tried and true, should be in 2 starts when he's at home, we should be able to see him take the record.
Hopefully, we'll see.
I hope so.
So, Chuck, what's your final up for the day?
Oh boy. The RailCats did not disappoint with the Father's Day hats this year.
Oh yeah, the Father's Day hats were nice.
Yeah, those were some sweet looking hats, quality hats. So that was really nice. But I'm going to go back to, something that's a little different. If you are not going to RailCats games, you're missing out. Go to a game. Check it out. Really enjoy it. When they call for the kids to run across the outfield, go run across the outfield. Do some fun, be a kid, do some fun things. I ran the bases with my dad. Do have fun. Go to the game, have some fun. And guess what? We're winning. Let's make it happen.
Well, mine isn't RailCat related. Mine's not even baseball related. But it is sort of baseball related. It's softball related. My alma mater of North Newton, their softball team won the state championship in 1A. That is the first time any team at North Newton has won the state championship. They were led by Sydney Rainford, who is ranked 6th in pitching nationally.
Wow.
So hats off to them. My sister played softball there. I coached softball there for a little bit. So and my class was the last class previous to win a sectional for them. But obviously that got blown out of the water when they go and win state. So congratulations to the girls down there. That's just,
what'd be really cool? If the RailCats reached out to them and invited them to a game and made a big deal about it.
Well, so here's the fun part about that, Chuck. Baseball state, all 4 classes are filled with region teams. And if they all win, you never know. They could get all of them together. I think
celebrate.
I think that would be cool if the RailCats if a softball or baseball team of the region wins. And I know some people might not classify North Newton as down in the region because it's so far down south. But guess what? You're on the central time zone, so you're in the region. So just have to deal with it. But that would be something cool to honor, like all of those players and get them out. Because I mean that's just here's Northwest Indiana
community, right? How many times do we hear that from Joe? Community. So Joe, speaking to you, because I know you listen to this nonsense. Community, Joe. Let's reach out to those softball teams. Tell them congratulations. Let's get get them to a game and do some celebrating with them.
I would agree. All right. Well, I think that wraps it up for tonight. We have Kane County and then Chicago on the road. So local, pretty close. We'll see.
Chicago coming back after that, right?
I think Chicago comes back. Yeah. So
Yeah.
really weird back-to-backs like that. But I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, rest of your evening when you're watching this. Go Cats.
Cats.
The 0-2. Swing and a miss, strike three. Wrap this one up in green and white.